Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about, all about Leo. And yes, it does apply and pertain to the sun, moon, and ascendant. Well, anyway, as far as Leo goes, Leo is, of course, they're very magnanimous, very generous people often. They often wind up giving a lot more than receiving because it's just their general nature to give. They could be easily irritated, agitated, and provoked. They have a fiery temperament. It is a fire sign, but they're generally not vindictive or vengeful people, and they're not one generally to hold a grudge. At the same time, a Leo, I think, if reaches his or her point of endurance with someone, will simply walk away at a certain point and not turn his or her back, turn around, because at some point everybody does reach their point of endurance, of course, and Leo can be that sign that can very well do so. It is a fixed sign. Once it makes up its mind, Leo can be very intransigent and sticks with his or her guns, so to speak. Not literally, but sticks by his or her decisions is what I'm saying. Well, as far as Leo goes, another thing connected with Leo, of course, is that they could be very extravagant. They really like the best things in life. They don't like to settle for second-hand items. They often have a difficult time living within their own income because of this. Another thing with Leo is that they could be very fortuitous and have a lot of courage and valor. And a lot of times they'll often stick up for their friends when a lot of other people may not. Aries and Leo, I think, could be about the two most courageous signs of the zodiac, and I think Scorpio as well. Now, as far as with Leo, Leo is, of course, they can be, being a fire sign, and they could be somewhat spontaneous. They are generally, they're not, this is a sign that can sometimes do things on a fly, so to speak. They're also a sign too when you have as far as the Leo sign goes itself. Leos they are the kind of people that could be very loyal and steadfast as people. They generally, once you have a Leo friend, it could very well be a friend for life. They could be very persistent in that particular friendship, and if somebody has really won their respect, that friendship can be very enduring with the Leo. Leos can be naturally showy, being flamboyant. They like to often be the center of attention. They really are. Leos seem to be very strongly tied in to getting notoriety, accolades, recognition. They like being lauded for their achievements. They like to have attention. They are about people appreciating what they do, and sometimes just getting to a Leo and getting them to open up is sometimes paying them compliments, but of course not false flattery. Of course, as long as the compliments are veracious and they are true. Well, anyway, another thing I want to talk about with Leo. Okay, as far as their appearance goes, people that are, you have to factor in ethnicity into this, of course, and if there are some African Americans, for example, a lot of this wouldn't apply. But as far as a general description, as far as their appearance goes, Leos can often be big in stature. They're often between medium or average height. The hair can often be very profuse, blonde or sandy color, or light reddish color even. The hair sometimes can look, maybe frame the face, like a mane, kind of like a lion, like the hair on a lion, very similar. The eyes can often be very pronounced and prominent, and they can be very piercing, not so much as, say, Scorpio, but they can have a very good, strong, steady gaze. The nose can be flat often, perhaps similar, kind of lion-like. Shoulders can often be broad. Leos tend to be big boned, and even the ones that have a slender build often still look strongly made. Leos tend to have a very strong upper body in relation to the lower body. And the face with Leo can tend to be oval, about medium long, and at least in relation to the rest of the body as far as the length, as the shape of the head is oval often. And with Leo too, there's often a presence that commands that attention. There's something about Leo that just seems to go very unnoticed. And that is as far as the appearance goes for Leo. Now, as far as money goes with Leo, well, with money, Leo can often be very fortuitous, and really at the same time they could be rather extravagant as well. Leo tends to like to have the best things in life, and they like affluence, but they like to have high quality items. Leos can often have a strong inability to live within their own income because of their extravagant tastes, and because they often like to spend an exorbitant amount of money on things, and they don't generally like the lesser quality items. So, and with money as well, Leo can also have a good propensity towards speculation, conjecture. Often you'll find Leos that are strongly into gambling. They can be somewhat risk-taking and foolhardy sometimes as far as money situations go in their dealings with money. But keep in mind that in many solar and natal charts, Sagittarius, the sign of luck and good fortune, will be on the cusp of the fifth house of speculation. So that is something to consider. Leos have a tendency perhaps to be a little bit luckier in matters connected with speculation and gambling than the average person does. So, and Leos will often spend a lot of money on their family and in children, perhaps even especially, because that's the sign that's associated with them, given the fact that Leo is the fifth sign of the zodiac, and of course the fifth house in a natal chart does rule children. Well, as far as a career goes, well, anything where Leo can kind of showcase their abilities is perfect fit for Leo. I mean, anything in the theater, drama, acting, being an actor or actress, even something connected with sports. I mean, you're basically on your own center stage. You're being seen often by millions of people if you're in the professional sports world. Something even connected with management or leadership, because Leos just have that natural ability to lead. And even if a Leo, say, is in some career where they're like in a subordinate or subservient position, they often do demonstrate leadership attributes and qualities. So, also, another career for Leo could be like a product demonstrator, because Leo has the natural ability to emphasize the positive in things and build up the positive in an item, and say it where they're accentuating all the good qualities of that particular product, or even doing, like, say, door-to-door sales, because Leo is naturally very extroverted and gregarious, coupled with the fact that they know how to build up the product they're selling and boast about it. Because Leos can be boastful, but they can do so with the item that they're connected with as well. Now, as far as health goes, well, Leo often has a very rugged and strong constitution. Their energy can nearly be indefatigable or inexorable. They can really go for long periods without getting tired. But the thing about the health with Leo is about often, what I see with Leo can be overexertion, because I think Leos sometimes don't know when to stop what they're doing. My grandfather, God rest his soul, had a son in Leo. And I mean, even in his retirement, age, he worked very laboriously. He was doing work for homeless people, and he really put in a lot of hours. And during that time, he's like in late 60s, early 70s, and I think that did play a role in him and in his passing, unfortunately. But anyway, another thing too is like as far as the vitality is usually very strong with Leo as well. Their endurance can be very strong. Now, as far as health afflictions, they could be prone to heart disease, coronary artery disease is one, the overexertion, which I talked about before, heart attack, and also the back as well, degenerative disc syndrome or problems with that. Protruding or bulging disc, general problems and aches with the back could be common with Leo. So anyway, well, as far as love goes for Leo, well, Leo can love unconditionally, especially if they sense that the person, that significant other, that romantic partner, what have you, is somebody that is very persistent and loyal and steadfast in matters of the heart. That Leo is a sign, though, keep in mind they could be very domineering. And now, while Leo could be very protective of the person that he or she loves, they could also be, I think, somewhat possessive because of that domineering type nature. Leos are about also, they can shower their loved ones with gifts, because Leos, of course, can be very magnanimous, generous, and can be extravagant as well. And this could apply to people that they are in love with. So those are some things to look at as far as that goes in love. But the thing about Leo, though, what's interesting, though, is the fact that Leos can, of all the signs, be a little bit more arrogant or egotistical in contrast to the rest of the signs. And what I think happens with them is if a lot of Leos, if they suspect that significant other is cheating on him or her, they may blow it off and say, well, maybe I'm being suspicious for nothing, because at least on a subconscious level, I think a lot of Leos think, well, there's no way that this spouse can or significant other, this romantic partner, can cheat on me. That just wouldn't be. There's no reason why he or she would do this. And I think they kind of delude themselves a little, and then they find out when it finally hits them, then they could be completely devastated, because they'll be like, well, what did I do to deserve this? I don't understand why this happened. They'll be completely flabbergasted. And Leos, too, can be a little bit gullible as well, and that could be in matters of the heart as well. So it's important for Leo in love to recognize and be able to decipher the character and the motives of that particular perspective love. So and I think Leos do have that, unfortunately, also that tendency to stay in relationships that could be detrimental to them as well. I had a friend that has Leo Ascendant, and something happened with a girl had done something to his child, a girl he was with, and when I heard about it, it was so appalling to me. But he said to me, he said, well, Eddie, just because she did this doesn't mean I'm going to stop loving her. So a lot of times that's the Leo mindset, because Leo has a hard time, I think, extricating themselves from negative relationships. A lot of that is attributed to their very strong loyalty towards somebody, I believe. Well, anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for All About Leo. And stay tuned next time, where I will be talking about all about Virgo. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone, because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.